Okay, I think it started. Okay, so hi everyone. Let me go ahead and share this. Okay, so my name is Jazz Kira Combs, and today I am going to do a writing lesson or just a couple of writing tips. So here is my email. If you ever have any questions about this video or you want some writing prompts or any materials, you can always email me at this email for help for some material, whatever you need, I am available at this email. And I will show this again at the end so that you have it. So, a little bit about me. I go to Indiana University, Bloomington, where these are like some staple images of Indiana. So, these are our simple gates, which is kind of like the opening to our campus. It is in the area where the property was first bought for Indiana University back in 1820. My involvement on campus, the two major things that I am most involved with, I am a co-president of an organization in the School of Education. It's called the Community of Diverse Educators, where we just focus on giving our diverse educators in the School of Education a space. Out of the 50,000 students that go here at IU, there are only 39 African American students in the entire School of Education and only 3 male, which are a part of our organization. So we work to just provide a space for our diverse educators, mostly minority, but we do open our organization to a mass of diverse people. I am also um, a program director of the NAACP organization here on campus, where we just focus on hosting events for our Black students and keeping them aware of what's going on nationally. School hasn't quite started yet, but we'll be doing a lot of events. My focus for NAACP are the education events. But that's a little bit about me. I love Indiana University. I was on the tour guide team as well here. So I'm a big person on Black history, so I just wanted to share this person with you. Every one of my videos, I would include a Black history moment because I think it's very important for us to get to know people that we do know and some that we don't know. It's always important to just refresh your memory. And here today we have Claudette Copeland. She was actually the first person to be arrested. It wasn't Rosa Parks. She was arrested at 15. And this happened in March of 1955. Rosa Parks happened in December of 1955. And the thing that people don't know about Rosa Parks and Claudette Colvin is Rosa Parks taking that move to sit down was actually a planned movement. So after Claudette Colvin, which happened randomly, she just literally decided one day she did not want to give up her seat. Um, the NAACP and the other organizations, the SCLC, they all got together and they decided that this was a very good thing for the community. It was a movement that was well needed. So that's when they decided to take Rosa Parks because she was a staple figure. She did have lighter skin, so it would be better. She was well established in her life. She was married. She was secretary for her job, and she also was an active member of the NAACP. So hers was more of a planned event. It was planned that this is the day that you're going to do this, and all the preparation that she needed. She definitely had to go through that to get ready for that movement to happen. Claudette Colvin, on the other hand, it was spur of the moment. She was darker skinned, so they didn't want to really use her as the face of the movement. And then she soon got pregnant before she turned 16. So they felt like they needed a more staple figure for the movement, and it ended up working. But it is still very important that we recognize Claudette Colvin for who she was. She was also part of a court case that led to a bigger decision for the Black community. So that's just a little bit about her. There will always be a different person for the Black History moment. I also wanted to do a word of the week. So this time is very confusing for a lot of us, and our minds can get a little foggy. So I just wanted to, I'm sorry, this is my doggy, Roxy, and she's chewing on this. Please move, Roxy. Um, so our word of the week this week, or just word of this video, will be absolve. Is to set or declare someone free from blame, guilt, or responsibility. So I challenge you, and this is where that email comes in handy. My challenge to everyone watching this video is for you to email me a sentence using the word absolve. And I'm going to trust that you are coming up with this own sentence using the definition. So you take the definition, you look, and you can see here that it is a verb. And then here are some similar words if you wanted to look these up. But come up with the sentence, and then I will recognize you on the next video. And email me your sentence. So this is another thing I would like to challenge everyone. And every week we'll have a writing prompt. And also attached to the video, I will send out some materials that I used. There are some where there are already made writing prompts, and they're really easy, and you can just start jotting down your thoughts. And I will also send an activity how you can create a kind of tool to help you just come up with a random writing prompt, which is very helpful. I always like to use writing prompts that are kind of interesting. So this one is for our students. If you had a suggestion box at home, what suggestions would you make? And I know your parents are probably going to be like, no, but this is just for you to get out your own thoughts. For me, if I had a suggestion box at my house with my parents, I would suggest that everybody wash their own dishes. Once you're done with the dish, you wash it, put it away. That would be my suggestion, and I would write that down. And what I want you to really think about when you're doing this writing prompt is think about what you would like to suggest and why. That is very important. Why are you making this suggestion? Let's really argue our point, because we may know or may not know that if we give good reason enough, our parents just may go along with our suggestion. So fill this out. If you would like to email this to me so that I can read it, of course, I'm always open to reading them, looking at them, sending them back. Or if you just want someone to read them, you don't want your parents to read them, I'm open to reading them. Just email them to that email that I first showed you, and I'll go to that slide again where you can possibly jot it down. But just go ahead and send me your writing prompt. I will send you feedback if you would like so, whatever you want. But you should do it. Okay, so today our main lesson is going to be the styles of writing. So this is very school-like. So I'm going to try to make it as less like school as possible. So there are 4 major styles of writing, and we're going to talk about them, but we're really going to highlight one, which is why it is red, because this is the one we're going to talk about a lot today. It's the most popular, especially for the grades that you guys are in. So we have narrative, which is a story that has characters, conflicts, a problem, and a resolution. So this is the one that we read a lot. We read a lot of narratives in our books, the little short books that we read, the short stories that we read in school. These are all narrative stories. They're also, to me, the most fun to write because with the narrative, you can literally make it whatever you want it to be about as long as it has characters, a conflict, a problem, and a resolution. Then it's a narrative story, and you can write about whatever you want to write about. It can be fiction and nonfiction, meaning it can be a real story, or it doesn't have to be a real story. It can be a made up story about fairies and dragons and how the dragon lost its fire breath. And now we have to figure out how that dragon is going to breathe fire again. So that's a narrative. Some examples of narratives are like what novels, which are just little books, anecdotes, which are stories that you tell. So if you wanted to tell a story from your just telling your friend a story, as long as you have characters, conflict, a problem, and a resolution, it's a narrative story. Next is expository, which these are the most lame ones to me, but they're pretty important too. These explain a concept or give information. So we know that expository are very well needed. Some examples are textbooks, which we need to know how to do certain things by reading a textbook. So it's good that those are expository. How to's when you're making a list of how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's an expository. Recipes are expository texts and news stories because these give information of a popular event that's happening or something that has happened in our community. These are all expository texts. Next, we have persuasive writing, which these are pretty cool to make, especially if you possibly like to argue or debate or just get people to believe what you believe. Persuasive texts are just for you. So these are trying to convince the reader of a position or a belief. So if I believe that magic is real, I can write a persuasive text saying, this is why magic is real and this is why you should believe me. But you have to give enough evidence for people to want to believe you. So examples are letters of recommendation. When you ask someone for a letter of recommendation, they're telling the person that they're writing it to, I think you should hire this person or accept this person or not because of these reasons. This is what they've done to show me that they deserve it. And this is why I'm telling you that you should believe what I believe. Reviews, when people write movie reviews or they're telling you their belief about something through their own words. So I like this movie because it had all of my favorite characters. You should like it too because I think that Will Smith is a great actor, or anything that is going to make you want to like this movie just as much as me. This is all persuasive. Advertisement, editorial newspaper articles, these are all persuasive text. Then we have a descriptive text, which is painting a picture in words of a person, place, or thing. So these things are mostly, when you read them, you think of pictures or you think of events or you think of something that's happening in real life, but you're reading it, which all stories should be descriptive enough. So examples are like some poetry. When you read Shakespeare, what do you imagine while you're reading his work? Journal and diary writings and plays, these are all descriptive texts because they're kind of happening in our minds. We can see the pictures, but it's in words. They're really fun to read too. So with narrative writing, we're going to talk about how to make a narrative piece. Now, this is just a simple layout of how to make a narrative. These are all the things that are really important for you to use in your story. And this is a good template for you to use if you want to make a narrative story. So you start with the lead and you start with how it all began. You just start with telling from the beginning of the story until now. Foxy, please be good. The beginning of the story. And then next, after you go into how it first began from the very beginning, you want to give events. And you need at least 2 events. But if it's a really juicy story, make sure you do 3 events because you don't want people to get confused. So, one event, and in each of these events, you're telling what happened. And you have to be really detailed. So, you need to tell everything from I woke up in the morning and felt the sun against my face, and every detail that happened to you, you want to put this in your story because it's going to make it really interesting for people to read. Then you have your turning point. And I like to call it the oh my gosh moment. What happened in your story that changed the from all of the events that were happening? What is that oh my gosh moment? What is your turning point? What happened? And make sure you included details. So maybe your morning was going great. You woke up and the sun brushed your face and the wind was blowing and your hair was blowing in the wind, and then somebody hit my car. Wow. Like that turning point, that oh my gosh moment. Or it could be I broke my shoe. It doesn't have to be that major where somebody hit your car, but your shoe could have broken. Or you could have seen one of your old friends and got so excited. So this turning point can be good or it can be bad, but it has to be something that kind of shifts the story. Then, after you've gone through everything that's happened, the turning point, you told what happened, you gave details, then you want to talk about how it all turned out. What changed and what did you learn from that experience? What did you learn from that story? What could you learn from your shoe breaking? Maybe you need to walk a little slower. Or what can you learn from somebody hitting your car? Maybe you learned that I need to pay more attention to the people around me. It's what did you learn? And then you end it with that so that people can just feel all of the feels of your story. I will also include some materials for more materials about narrative stories. And this is very just optional. If you would like to write a narrative story, then I would love for you to write a narrative story and I will read them and I will send you feedback. There will also be materials available, and here is my email again, my name and my email. So if you have any questions, if you want to submit a writing prompt, if you want to submit a narrative story or an expository, persuasive, or descriptive piece, you may do so. Just go ahead and shoot me an email. I will try next time. We're going to have a Kahoot game. So it's really important for you to know about the expository, the narrative, descriptive, and persuasive kinds of writing. Maybe go ahead and look at those examples again. I will send the Nearpod link so that you can go ahead and go to this email and you could see the slide again. Um, but it's going to be very fun. We're going to try to make it as interactive as possible, the Kahoot game. Um, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions, you need materials, or you want any suggestions, please email me at educjazcombs@gmail.com. And I hope to see you guys again.